Hello everyone, good day. I am Sharmi Sawit Angodo, your reporter, and Chapter 8, the Organizational Leadership. I know this is so very important to us as being a future educator, or even you are a teacher now, on how to apply in the school, even in the classroom. Because you are a teacher and you are a good role model to your student, to your co-teachers, or even the the members of the school. So right now we are going to have the objectives of our topic. So at the end of this lesson, we are going to explain what is organizational leadership is. Number two, distinguish between leadership and management. Number three, describe different organizational leadership styles. Number four, explain what is situational leadership, servant leadership are, and discuss how to sustain change in an organization. So now we so our introduction is expected of professional teachers who care for embark on continuing professional development is a promotion along the way. With this in mind, this course won't be complete without a discussion of an effective leader and manager for which you will be in the future. But should you refuse offer for a managerial or leadership position in school or in the bigger educational organization because of the love for teaching and learners. This lesson on organization leadership won't be lead to waste because even as teacher, you are already a leader and a manager. You are a teacher in a class or classroom manager. So we should always remember that being a teacher, we are already a leader and a manager because we manage the student in the classroom on how they participate the activities because it is very important that they participate the the activities that we are going to have that activity. So right now we are going to define what is organizational leadership. And now let us define what is organizational leadership. Leaders have set strategic goals for the organization while motivating individuals within the organization to successfully carry out assignments in order to realize those goals. In the school setting, the school leader helps set the goals or targets for the school and motivate teachers, parents, learners, non-teaching personnel, and other members of the community to do their tasks to realize the school goals. So within the school, uh, we have the goals or targets na dapat na ipatupad. So, ang mga leader or ang mga pinuno is tumutulong upang ma-motivate yung mga learners, parents, upang gawin yung nararapat na maipatupad na goals within the school. Organizational leadership works towards what is best for individual members and what is best for the organization as a group at the same time. So, hindi lamang pumipili ang isang leader na bumigay ng kanyang serbisyo, kundi pati na rin sa lahat within the individual members and sa organization. Kasi nga, you as a leader, you need to remember na hindi lamang sa sarili mo o matawag kang isang leader, kundi may gawa ka rin. So, Kasi nga, within the, for example, you as a teacher in this classroom teaching for the student, na maipakita mo rin sa mga estudyante kung paano ang magiging good role model, at they will motivate you at the same time. Organizational leadership does not sacrifice the individual members for the sake of the people, nor sacrifice the welfare of the group for the sake of individual members. Both individual and group are necessary. Organizational leadership is also an attitude and a work ethic that empowers an individual in any role to lead from the top, middle, or bottom of an organization. Applied to the school setting, the school leader helps anyone from the organization, not necessarily from the top, to lead others. An example of this leadership which that does not necessarily come from the top of the organization is teacher leadership. So, you as a teacher leader, you need to realize na dapat handa ka sa lahat ng anumang mangyayari, kasi nga hindi sa lahat ng pagiging leader is masaya. Minsan, madadown ka din, or you have the weaknesses and you have the strength. And to realize it na hindi ito hadlang upang maipatupad yung goals within the school. Kasi nga, ang pakikipagtulungan in other co-teachers or even in the individual members of the organization is mahalaga talaga na to have a unity within the school upang mapatupad yung goals. So, mapapaisip talaga tayo na why it is both equal na leader ka na nga, manager ka pa. So, in these sentences, we see that the school head must be both a leader and a manager. So, why? Mapapatanong talaga tayo na kung bakit ba na leader ka na nga, manager ka pa. So, a school head leads the school and community to formulate the vision, mission, goals, and school improvement plan. This is a leadership function. She or he sees to it that this plan gets well implemented on time and so ensures that resources needed are there. The person to do the job are qualified and available. This is a management function. Imagine if the school head is only a leader. You have the vision, missions, and goals, and school plan but no implementation. The plan is good only in paper. If you do the task of a manager only, you will be the focusing on the details of the day implementation without the big picture. The vision and mission, so if big picture for content and meaning. This means that it is best that a school leader is both a leader and a manager. So, nalaman talaga natin na it is both equal na you as a leader and also a manager. Kasi nga, leader, ikaw yung nangunguna and dapat ikaw yung mag-manage sa classroom. So, you as a teacher, malalaman mo talaga na hindi lang ikaw yung leader, kundi ikaw din yung manager. Kasi nga, ikaw yung natuturo, ikaw yung bibigay ng mga instructions kung paano gawin. At for example, this na hindi lamang makikita ng mga estudyante kung paano ka naging mabuting leader sa kanila, kundi naging mabuti ka ring manager and being a teacher. Now, leadership versus management. So, they have the comparison of manager and leader. So as you can see, we have the organizational leadership and ikan mabahagi ito sa dalawang part kundi ang managers and leaders. So within the managers, we have the part of administer, work, focus, have subordinates, and do things right. And the other hand is leaders. They innovate, people focus, have followers, do the right thing. As you can see, they have the meaning that I provided. So, dito natin malalaman kung ano nga ba ang trabaho ng pagiging manager at ang pagiging leader. So, first, we have the manager, the administer. So, administer, their process is transactional, meet objectives, and delegate tasks. So, in the other hand, the leaders innovate. Their process is transformational, develop a vision, and find a way forward. So it can also the work focus for managers. The goal is to get things done. They are skilled at allocating work. So people focus. The goals include both people and results. They care about you and what you to succeed. And the managers have subordinates. They create circles of power and lead by authority. The leaders have followers. They create circles of influence and lead by inspiring. And do things right, managers enact the existing culture and maintain status quo. And do the right thing. Leaders shape the culture and drive integrity. So they have different kind of to have as leaders of managers. So in this case, uh, naipakita dito na managers and leaders are combined together kasi nga hindi ito mapaghihiwalay. So now, let us tackle also the types of skills demanded of leaders. So we have three broad types of skills. So what is this? So number one is technical skills. So when we say technical skills, refers to any type of process or technique like sending email, preparing a PowerPoint presentation. So, technical skills, so ito yung ginagamit ng mga teknolohiya or ito yung skills sa pagiging leader na magaling sa computer or any types of social media. So, human skills, the ability to work effectively with people and to build teamwork. This is also referred to as people skills or soft skills. So, human skills, when we say human skills, ito yung pagiging makatao o the will to work effectively. So, ito yung na nakikihapag ng teamwork. And conceptual skills, the ability to think in terms of models, framework, and good relationships such as long-range plans also deals with ideas, while human skills concerns relationship with people and technical skills and involves psychomotor skills and things. So that is the three broad types of skills. We have four types of leadership styles. So number one is autocratic, number two is consultative, number three is democratic, and number four is legislative. So let us define what is the meaning of each word of the part of leadership styles. Autocratic leaders do decision-making by themselves o gumagawa ng desisyon sa kanyang sarili lamang o inisip lamang niya ang kapakanan niya bilang isang leader. Oo, matatawag siyang leader pero pagdating sa mga usaping pag mag-desisyon na ang organization ay hindi siya nakikinig ng opinion sa iba. So number two, consultative leaders allow participation of the members of the organization by consulting them but make decision themselves. So ito yung ding leaders na nangungonsulta sa mga nangungonsulta sa ibang membro na makipag-participate pero kung gagawa ng mga decision within the organization ay sarili lamang din ang ginagawa. Although they are consulting the members about the inside is pag decision na yung inuusapan, sarili lamang din nila yung tinutupad nilang decision. So number three is democratic leaders allow the members of the organization to fully participate in decision making. So democratic leaders, ito yung mga leader na kumukuha ng mga ideya sa ibang tao or opinion within the organization. That is democratic leaders. So number four is laissez-faire. O tinatawag din itong free leadership style. Leaders avoid responsibility and leave the members of the organization to establish their own work. So ito yung mga leader na hindi pinapagutan yung mga responsibilidad at bigla na lang umaalis within the organization o iniiwan yung mga membro para ipatupad yung nais nilang gawin o gusto nilang matupad yung kanilang desisyon within the organization. So, mapapatanong talaga tayo kung ano ang mas the best na leaders. So, hindi naman talaga natin din masasabi na may perfectong leader. Kasi nga, iba-iba yung prinsipyo o iba-iba yung mga paniniwala o beliefs or desire na kanilang ginagawa. Kasi being a good leader, you have a good heart na serbisyo talaga yung iniisip mo. Hindi lamang kapakanan ng sarili mo, kundi kapakanan ng mga membro. So this leadership style leads to the kanya-kanya mentality or one weaknesses of the Filipino character. So, being a Filipino, masasabi talaga natin na may leader talaga na iniisip lang yung sarili at may leader din na bahala na kayo nang bahala, ganun sinasabi nila. O sinasabi natin kanya-kanya. So there will be no problem if the situation is still. Each member of the organization has reached a level of maturity, and so if members are left to themselves, they will do only what is good for the organization. On the other hand, it will be chaos if each member will do as he or she please, even if it is against the common good. So, which leadership styles are participative? So, saan dito ang mas participative na being leader? So the consultative and democratic leadership style are the only ones that allow for participation of the members of the organization. Between the consultative and the democratic style of leadership, the democratic style is generally participative because it abides the rule of the majority. So masasabi talaga is, and the best leader talaga is the democratic leaders. Kasi nga inaalo niya yung membro within the organization na mag-participate by making a decision. So, yun yung dapat gawin as being a leader. So, now, we have the situational leadership model. So, in situational leadership, effective leaders adapt their leadership style to the situation of the members of the organization, to readiness and willingness of group members. Sinabi yan ni Paul Henry and Kenneth H. Blanchard, 1996, characterize leadership style in terms of the amount of task, behavior, and relationship behavior that the leader provides to their followers. They categorize all leadership styles into 4 behavior styles, which they name situation 1 to situation 4. So, as you can see, we have behavior styles in situational leadership. So, situation 1, it does the selling or the directing. So, individuals lack the specific skills required for the job in hand, and they are willing to work at the task. They are novice but enthusiastic. So, ito yung mga taong direktang na willing to work na matapos yung isang task. So, ito yung individuals lack the specific skills na kasang ginagawa ng isang situational leadership. So, situation 2 is tailing and coaching. Individuals are more able to do the task. However, they are demotivated for this job or task and willing to do the task. So, tailing or coaching, baliktaran. So, ang ceiling kasi is willing sila na mag-work, and sa tailing or coaching naman is unwilling to do the task. Ito yung individual na unwilling na gumawa ng o maipatubad ng isang task. So, number 3 situation is participating or supporting. Individuals are experienced and able to do the task but lack the confidence owed and the willingness to take on responsibility. So, ito yung situational leadership na experience ng mga miyembro na nakipag-participate sila but kulang naman sila ng confidence and willingness to take on responsibility. Kasi nga, mahalaga rin na may confidence ka sa isang organization or being a leader. So, number 4 situation is delegating. Individuals are experienced at the task and comfortable with their own ability to do it well. They are able and willing to not only do the task but to take responsibility for the task. So, delegating, sasabi natin is the best talaga ito kasi nga ginagawa niyang willing siyang gumawa ng task and nag-take din siya ng responsibility nagawa yung isang task. So, if the group member is able, willing and confident or high readiness, the leader uses a delegating. So, delegating leadership style. The leader turns over the responsibility for decision and implementation to the members. On the other hand, if the group members have low readiness, vulnerable, and unwilling, the leader resorts to telling the group members what to do. In short, competent members of the organization require less specific direction than less competent members. Less competent people need more specific direction than more competent people. So, among these leadership styles, no one style is considered best for all leaders to use all the time. Effective leaders need to be flexible and must adapt themselves according to the situation, the readiness and willingness of the members of the organization. So, wala tayong mapipili dito sa situational leadership kasi nga, being a leader, you are flexible and you are ready to adapt the situation within the organization. Kasi nga, hindi lang sa pagiging masaya na makaka-experience ka rin ng mga struggles as being leader. Diyan din yung nasusukat yung pasensya mo, kung paano mo mairaos yung problema within the organization. And mahalaga talaga yung pasensya at pag-aantay na mairesolba yung problema. I have here the two types of leadership. Number one is servant leadership. Robert K. Greenleaf, 1997, coined the paradoxical term servant leadership. How can one be a leader when he or she is servant? That's the common thinking, but the paradox is Greenleaf's deliberate and meaningful way, emphasizing the qualities of a servant leader. He describes the servant. Servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one wants to serve. Then conscious choice brings one inspired to lead. The best task is to serve grow as persons, though they, while being served, become healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, more likely themselves to become servants. And what is the effect on the less privileged in society? Will they benefit or at least not be further deprived? Greenleaf 1977%. 2. The first desire of the servant leader is to serve. How? By leading, the greatest teacher is humankind. Jesus Christ was a servant leader. He taught his disciples, he who wants to be great must be the servant of all. The life of the greatest teacher was a life of total service to all. So we often hear the term public servant to refer to appointed and elected officials of the government to emphasize the fact that they indeed are servant of the people. Their first duty is to serve and serving. They lead. They don't think of their power as leader first. If they do, they tend to become more conscious of their importance felt over their conscious to tend to impose that power or make the importance and forget that if ever they are given power, it is to serve their people. Someone said power corrupts, and I need it does. When leaders think first of their power and forget the very reason why such power was given to serve. The greatest teacher said, and whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. Matthew chapter 20, verse 27. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Matthew chapter 23, verse 11. So, you know how the pagan rulers make their power spread, but it shall not be this way among you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. His whole life was a life of service. In fact, he wanted to embrace this idea of servant leadership by doing something dramatic in his last days on earth. He washed the feet of his apostles. Washing the feet was the work of a servant in his time. He wanted to teach the members of his apostles the idea that leaders are supposed to be foot washers. Leaders are supposed to be servant of all. Servant leadership seeks to involve others in decision. So, in short, when you are a leader, you need uh, you also have that you are slave. Kasi nga, paano paano ka magiging isang mabuting leader kung hindi ka dumaan sa pagiging servant. So, when you always remember na when you are already a leader, you also serve to other. Hindi lamang sa sarili mo, kundi pati na rin sa ibang tao. So now, let us forward to transformational leadership. So, transformational leadership, Robert Kennedy once said, "Some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Those who dream of things that never were and ask why not are not transformational leaders. The transformational leader is not content with status quo and sees the need to transform the way the organization thinks, relates, and does things. Transformational school leader sees school culture as it could be and should be, not as it is, and so plays his or her role as visionary, engager, learner, collaborator, and instructional leader. As a transformational leader, he or she makes positive changes in the organization by collaboratively developing new vision for the organization and mobilizing members to work towards that vision. To do this, the transformational leader combines charisma, inspirational leadership, and intellectual stimulation to introduce innovation for the transformation of sustaining change. For reforms to transform the innovation introduced by the transformational leader must be institutional and sustained, or else that innovation is simply a passing fad that loses its flavor after a time. A proof that an innovation introduced has transformed an organization is that the result or effect of that change persists or ripples even when the transformative leader is gone or is transferred to another school or gets promoted in the organization. To ensure that the innovation or he or she introduces leads to the transformation of the organization, Murata of Bayan and CBN 2011 gives the following advice. So, sustaining change. Kasi nga, hindi natin masasabi na ang isang teacher o siya yung leader within the school is mananatili siya sa isang paaralan. May posibilidad din na mapatalsik siya or lumipat ng ibang paaralan. So, sustaining change is makapagbibigay ito ng support between the transformational leader to passing the losses its value in a time. So, we have here the following advice that we given of Morato Kabayan in ABCDI. So number 1 is seek the support of the stakeholders. The leaders must build a strong coalition of allies in order to push for any meaningful change that would yield result. Innovations cannot be forced upon the teachers, the students, the parents, the community without serious consequences. So it is very important to have the support of the stakeholders. Kasi nga, binubuo ang organization within the individual members. So number 2 is get people involved early and often. Decision drops off of in proportion to the involvement of participants. Participants. You may not to accept 100% support from any individual who was not personally involved in a change that affected his or her work. It is best to set up networks to reach out to as many people as possible. So, it is very important that you people were early enough din. So, mahalaga talaga na isa din sa ibang tao within the school. Kasi nga, hindi mo masasabi na you as a leader is lahat. Kailangan mo rin makinig ng mga kayo within your teachers or even the individual members of the organization. So number 3, plan a communication campaign to seal the innovation. So, the change in verse must assist downward to the last lesson plan in the field sidewards to bring the support of major stakeholders. So, it is very important na before do the task or the plan or the goal of the school, kailangan talagang may plano and have a communication campaign. So, it can also for the meeting of the stakeholders. So that is super important. And number 4 is ensure that the innovation is understood by all. So innovation, ito yung innovation kanina is ito yung transformational na task. The benefits and costs must be appreciated and weighed carefully. So, when we say it ka na makapagbintay talaga ito ng benepisyo and cost na ma-appreciate yan ng mga stakeholder at maintindihan nila what is the purpose of ensuring the innovation at maintindihan para maipatupad ng walang pag-aalinlangan at walang mababag. Kaya sure ka ng walay mababag to get that plan. So number 5 is considering time and pacing. These are highly critical. Most steps might backfire and lack of sensitivity to stakeholders might lead to resistance. So, consider timing is very important din kasi nga paano maipatupad yung goal ng isang school kung walang konsiderasyon. So, bago maipatupad yung school goals within the classroom, kailangan talaga na mapag-usapan at magawa ng plano. Kaya itong 5 is makakatulong din ito para makuha talaga yung goal within the school. Being a leader, you should always remember na hindi lamang makikita na ikaw ay may posisyon, kundi inilagay ka as being a leader in a manager, as teacher, upang makapagbahagi ka ng iyong mga kaalaman at may bahagi mo rin ito sa mga estudyante. Before I end this report, I just want to recite again my topic. So, organizational leadership is also an attitude and work ethic that empowers an individual in any role to lead from the top, middle, or bottom of our organization. Leadership and management are not synonymous but are related to each other. Leadership is focused more on the vision, the future state of the organization, while management is concerned with daily operations. An effective school head is both a leader and a manager. There are various democratic and laissez-faire or free-rein style. So the democratic leadership style is the most participative. Decisions are arrived at by consensus. Consultative style is also participative because it involves members of the organization but the leader decides. Autocratic leadership is dictatorial leadership. The members of the organization do not participate in decision making. In the laissez-faire leadership style, the leader does not interfere with the members of the organization who are left to decide for themselves. In servant leadership, it is most important that the leader sees himself or herself as a servant first before he or she is a leader. And transformational leadership is concerned with introducing and sustaining innovation. And lastly, situational leadership is leading the organization in a way that fits the situation, the readiness of the followers. So hopefully you are understand my topic and thank you so much for listening and may God bless us all. Thank you so much.